After 5 seasons, Gary Owen will make the jump to full-time action in the NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series. Gary spent 3 seasons proving himself on dirt where he came up short of a title each season. A season in the Truck Series where he won the championship in an incredible three-way tie, and 1 season in the Xfinity Series where multiple rivals were made, ultimately ending his chances at making the Final Four to compete for a championship at Homestead Miami Speedway. Gary Owen had multiple teams attempting to sign him, but ultimately he made the decision to join Chip Ganassi Racing to drive the 42 car as Kyle Larson decided to take a temporary leave from the sport to race full-time in the World of Outlaws. Larson said, "This is a break I need, but I guarantee I will be back in the 42 at some point in the future, just not this season." In other news, Gary Owen also started his own team, Polar Star Racing, to compete full-time in the Camping World Truck Series, with Haley Diggins set to drive full-time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a new episode here for the Daytona 500, our first full-time ride in the Cup Series. We obviously drove the number 42, as you heard from my friend Jay's explanation there on why we're driving this car. This might only be a one-season deal with this team, so we're going to be already searching for rides throughout the season to see what we can get. We see all the paint schemes we're going to be running. We're actually going to be running the First Data paint scheme as our primary. Credit One Bank pulled out as a full-time primary sponsor. Now they're going to be like the third primary. Our secondary sponsor is going to be the DC Solar paint scheme. So yeah, we're going to have First Data on the car for the Daytona 500 and obviously the majority of the races. And I really love the paint schemes on this car. But now we have a chance to run in the Daytona 500 for our first time. We came to qualifying, and I usually don't have a good run in plate track qualifying, but I was really hoping we could maybe get to the second round at least. But now as we came through the tri-oval, we got towards the yellow line, got on the apron a little bit coming across the line, and we qualified P29 for the Daytona 500. So we get eliminated in the first round, which is unfortunate, but I'm very confident we can at least make it up in the race.
We're live from beautiful Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida, for today's running of the great American race, the Daytona 500. Another season of Monster Energy NASCAR Cup racing is about to get underway. The forecast calls for blue skies and temps in the mid-70s. Perfect weather for racing. The drivers are in their cars and the sold-out crowd is on their feet. It's that time of year again. It's time for NASCAR racing.
All right, we are ready to go racing in the Daytona 500. Our first attempt at it. There you have DJ Kennington starting in the mid-30s. A really good effort from him. Daniel Suarez failed technical inspection, so he goes to the back. Ty Dillon, he changed his engine after qualifying, so he's towards the back. And here we are. We're going to gain a few spots because of those guys' issues, and we are ready to go green here in Daytona. The green flag waves, and we are underway for the Daytona 500, starting from 28th position here beside the number 34, Michael McDowell. Right off the bat, he got a pretty good launch. McDowell was able to clear me with no problems at all, and now we slide in behind him on the inside as William Byron stays on the outside and gets along my door as we hit the middle of turns 1 and 2, as we have help with Busher from behind, and now the outside line starts to check up quite a bit, which allows me to get into a top 25 position now as we are alongside the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. We're going to clear him with no problems at all now as we come alongside the 47 of AJ Allmendinger into turn 3, getting on the apron a bit. That could have really went wrong if we weren't at a plate track, but we were able to hang on to it with no problems. Now almost up into the top 20 now behind Paul Menard in the 21 car. A really solid start. The first lap was really good for us, so hopefully we can kind of continue to work our way forward. I know running the bottom line at plate tracks in this game is pretty much key eventually. If you stay on the bottom, you're likely going to work your way forwards. So now we force it 3 wide on the inside of Paul Menard. He is in the middle of a 3 wide. I think Denny Hamlin on the outside of him. Now as he's got the momentum on the exit of turn 2, he clears me, and now we lose a little bit of ground, but we do have some help from behind still with the 37 of Chris Busher helping us, but now we're pulling away from him as we're going to give Paul Menard a little bit of a shove going into turn 3. There's another shot to his bumper. Denny Hamlin stuck by himself out there. Danica Patrick on the outside. I don't know why they put her in this game, but there she is. Now to the inside of Menard coming to the line. We do get up to P21, and we should get past Danica with no problem as we dive to the inside of the 6. Already into the top 20 on the 3rd lap of this race. Now we approach the 34's bumper. We give him quite the bit of a shove through turns 1 and 2. Now on the exit of 2, we get to the inside of McDowell down the back straightaway, but he gets the draft and he pulls back clear of me down the straightaway, but we might be able to get to his inside again, and yes we did. We got to his inside, and now up to P18, and now big run into turn 3 under Casey Kane in the 95. We had a humongous run going into 3, and hopefully we can continue that in the future. Now as we come to lap 6 of 14 in stage 1, we slowly worked our way forward to now where we're behind the 43 of Bubba Wallace. Now going into turn 3 under our teammate Jamie McMurray as we get up to P12, and we have a car spinning on the apron, and he goes back up the track, and we have a big crash behind us, and that's going to bring the caution out. And it was a black car, that's all I know, but that was the only kind of footage I could get of that crash. He just kind of went spinning. He lost the back end in turns 3 and 4, and around he went and collected some other cars. So we're going to be going green now from P12 with just 5 laps to go once we hit the line in stage 1. So we will have a chance to at least gain a few stage points, hopefully, as we start behind the 43 of Bubba Wallace. Kevin Harvick on my inside did not have the greatest restart, and now we kind of slow up a little bit going into turn 1. Now the outside checks up in front of me, and they probably will check up even more. As you can see, it's happening now. We're going to lose a handful of positions due to the outside just not going on the restarts at plate tracks. We try to get down in front of Logano, but it's not going to happen. Obviously, I have a car on my inside, so that's completely changing our kind of stage end. Now Bubba Wallace moves up the track. I'm going to try and go up the middle. We hit the 6 into the 43, and goodness gracious, we slide down in front of the 22. Thank goodness he was not there, and that allowed me to hold on to the car. That would have been a big crash if the 22 was down there. But that just about went really bad, but it kind of worked out in my favor as it actually helped me to get down to the bottom. Now under the 43 going into turn 1, just 4 laps to go at this point in stage 1. Now under the 18 of Kyle Busch. If we just stay on this inside, we're going to work our way into the top 10. I'm very confident of that. So hopefully we can pull this off now, as the inside line at this point is really moving forward as we come to 2 laps to go in stage 1. You see we worked our way into the top 10 behind the number 3 of Austin Dillon, who's in P7. We got McDowell up there in P6. We got Kevin Harvick in P9 on my outside trying to get past me. Now as we go through turns 3 and 4 behind the 3 car, we're just trying to ride this inside and hope that we move forward, but there's a lot of guys. There's really no one running the outside, but now we have Trevor Bayne forced 3 wide by the 3 car of Austin Dillon. McDowell, he drops out, and we get past him just about. He's on my door. I'm just going to ride the inside as we go into turn 1 and hope that it pays off. Now on the inside of the 6 of Trevor Bayne, we might even be able to get a top 5 here as we get to the inside of Austin Dillon. I wasn't even planning to do that. It's just he checked up so much, and I just kind of went to his inside, and we lost a little bit of ground as we made contact with him as we come down the back straightaway for one final time in stage 1, just riding the inside behind the 3 car now on the inside of Trevor Bayne, trying to get one more point before the stage ends. Through the center of the corner, now to turn 4, we do have the edge on Trevor Bayne. On the exit, we try to get to the bottom of Austin Dillon, seeing if we can gain any more positions as we go 3 wide, coming to the line. We're going to get him and get P4 in stage 1. And Eric Almirola is your first stage winner of the season, giving himself a playoff point. And I chose to take no tires on this pit stop, and we just said, okay, we'll put a little bit of fuel in the car. So we did about a can and a half, and we came out in P4. We actually, the guys ahead of us stayed out, so we were the first car out, and I'm assuming everyone else took tires or something, and that's not what we did. But we are green for stage 2, and we have the 15 up in the lead. I think that's the car that wrecked in the first stage, but I cannot really confirm that, as we give Daniel Suarez, the 19 car, a big shove as we get ready to approach turn 1. We're trying to get him clear of the 15 of Ross Chastain, but we cannot get him clear in turn 1, so now we're going to have to just try and give the 19 as many shoves as we can to get him out front, and hopefully get myself in front of the 15 to maybe clear him as well so we can get to the bottom. Down the back straightaway though, Suarez does have the edge on Chastain as we have help from behind of Kurt Busch in the 41. Giving Suarez a huge shove into turn 3. Is he clear? No, he's not. Through the center of the corner, still door to door between the 15 and the 19. out of turn 4. Pretty tight between the two front runners now as we come to the line. It looks like Suarez is going to manage to lead the lap. He will lead lap 1 of stage 2 as we give him another shove down the straightaway. He might be able to clear the 15. He is definitely clear now as he goes to the bottom and leaves us to dry. And now we are going to make a little bit of contact with the 15, even more, going through the center of the corner. That's not what I wanted to do, but it just kind of got into him. And now we get in the wall out of turn 2, so that really messed up our momentum that we had going with the 19 of Daniel Suarez. But a huge run down the back straightaway with the drive from the guys in front of me. But we're going to really need some help to try and get to the lead. Kurt Busch is the closest guy we have to help, and he's a couple car lengths back as we got a run on the outside of Ty Dillon on the exit of turn 4. We kind of side drafted him a little bit through the corner, and it paid off on the exit. It has really become very unorganized up in the top 5 to 10 here right now as we got two guys just kind of checked out. A few car lengths ahead of Ty Dillon. Suarez continues to lead as we try to get to the bottom. We get into the side of the 13, which shoves me up the track, and we're not going to be able to get in front of Eric Almirola. But now Almirola clears me down the back straightaway, so I get right behind him as soon as he was clear, so I can guarantee myself a bottom line entrance into turn 3 as we get under the 13 of Ty Dillon. Now he's hung out to dry as we have Eric Jones in the 20, our first car with help, unless Ty Dillon can get to the bottom. He does not get to the bottom, and now it is Jones who will approach my bumper. So we know we got some help now as we come to lap 7 of 12 in stage 2. We went back to the top and fell back. As you can tell, it didn't work out as we have a little bit of helmet cam footage here in stage 2. We ride around for a lap with the helmet cam to see exactly what's going on in the car as we ride behind Daniel Suarez, who obviously has lost the lead. Eric Jones currently leads the race in front of second place Clint Boyer. Now at a turn 2, we do get into the wall, and that it didn't really leave any damage, thankfully. And that's one of the problems running the cockpit cam, is sometimes I'll just be way too close to the wall without knowing, and I'll drive right into it. Just the way the cockpit cam is in this game. But now we get to the inside anyways in turns 3 and 4 now under the 19 of Suarez. He's drifting back, and that's unfortunate for him as we come out of turn 4 to the line, coming to 4 laps to go in stage 2, running pretty good on the bottom line now as we hit a little bit later in that lap, be riding behind the 4 car of Kevin Harvick. Austin Dillon up ahead of him. It's going to be a battle between, I think, him and Kurt Busch and Eric Jones to win the stage. A little bit of a checkup in turns 3. We have help from Kyle Busch, and we have our teammate Jamie McMurray riding there behind Kyle Busch. Now as Suarez once again gets to my outside, and he actually side drafts me a little bit down the straightaway, and we have the stage end early, obviously due to someone must have crashed down in turns 3 and 4. I'm not sure exactly what happened. I looked for footage to maybe find what happened, but I could not find anything of what caused the caution, unfortunately. But we chose a can and a half of fuel, right side tires, and we did a little bit of a tire pressure adjustment because the car felt a little bit slower in stage 2 than what it did in stage 1. So we made those adjustments, and we ended up being the first car off of pit road. So we're going to lead the field to the green flag as the final stage of the Daytona 500 is underway, as we have Eric Jones alongside us from P2. He gets quite a bit of the run as we pass the line now, going down the front straightaway as we approach turn 1, side by side still going into turn 1. He is pretty even with us now. He's almost clear, but hopefully we can kind of get a run back on the inside as we move up the track, trying to side draft him as we exit turn 2. Still side by side, pretty even out of turn 2 with help from the 6 of Trevor Bayne behind me. Eric Jones, I believe, has a 41 to help him. No, he has a 3 of Austin Dillon as he clears me down the back straightaway for a moment, and now he gets clear into turn 3 and pulls to the bottom as soon as he possibly can. Now as we have just 21 laps to go in the Daytona 500. He has a huge gap between himself and me and Austin Dillon, who are side by side as we try to side draft the 3 down the front straightaway as we cross the line to hit 20 laps to go in this race. We managed to clear the 3 car of Austin Dillon with ease. Going into turn 1 now, a big run on the 20 of Eric Jones as we have a chance to maybe try and get the lead, but I couldn't really use the outside, so we just kind of ducked in behind him and rode behind him as we exited turn 2. The guys behind us continue to battle, and really no one's getting sorted out. They just want to keep battling hard down the back straightaway as we have a chance to go to the inside of the 20. I kind of moved right and then I ducked left, trying to get to his inside, and we easily get the edge on the 20 car, but he might side draft me on the exit of turn 4, but we do maybe get clear just for a moment, but now he's going to get the run back on the exit of turn 4 as we have help from Trevor Bain in the 6 car, and now Austin Dillon in the 3 is going to come along to help Jones in the 20. Going into turn 1, we're going to side draft the 20 before we get there, just to kind of maintain our gap with him. I don't want him to get too far ahead. If he clears me, then we're going to have a really tough time getting back to his inside now as we side draft him again on the exit of turn 2. But down the back straightaway, he has too much help from the 3 car of Austin Dillon, and he clears me down the back straightaway as Austin Dillon. He's trying to clear me too, but he's not quite able to get to my front bumper and clear, so we managed to stay on his inside and get back up to P2 by the time we exit turn 4. Austin Dillon does have the run back now as he has a drive from Eric Jones, but he drops back down in front of me, so that's going to give me the edge over the 3 car and down past the line now, approaching turn 1. We could go to the inside of the 20, but I chose not to. I chose to ride behind him for the moment as we clear Austin Dillon now into turns 1 and 2, so we're finally clear of anyone for the moment at least. Now at a turn 2 is the 3. He started to drift back as we come to a few laps later is the 14. He gets to my inside and we try to come down and clear ourselves, and we're not successful as we get hit into the wall. He was a lot closer than I thought, and now Almirola is going to hit me going down the straightaway. I don't know what he was doing, but it puts us in the wall again, and we have a bit of an incident going into turn 1, and we have quite a bit of damage on the front end, and now we're going to have to pit and go to the back. Yeah, that incident was 100% my fault. We decided to take 4 tires. I thought I was clear of Boyer, and I just came down and went right into his right bumper, and it did not end well as we go green now. Joey Logano all the way back here with us, but it's going to be 11 laps to go at the line, which to me is still enough time to try and work our way forwards to maybe pull off at least a top 10, and if we get the right circumstances, we might even still be able to contend for a win. But clearly off the restart we fall way behind, which is not good, because now we're gonna have to spend a couple laps likely just trying to catch the field with the draft, so that is going to be a setback now as we go down the back straightaway. Logano, I don't know why he's back here. We got William Byron all the way back here as well up in front of us, but we do get a run down the back straightaway on these guys, so we really didn't lose too much time. I thought it was going to maybe take a little bit longer to run them down, but we are back now to the outside of Joey Logano as we get ready to come out of turn 4. It'll be 10 laps to go as I hit the wall like an idiot. Now that's going to be a real setback right there. Now we have to gonna have to work to try and run these guys back down as we hit 10 laps to go in this race, and we're about 5 tenths behind the 22 right now. And now we hit the apron a little bit in turns 1. That was not what we needed. But, I mean, the rest of this little run right here, the next 2 to 3 laps, was really just me really trying to keep on to that draft from the 22 car and slowly reel them in, because it was really tough to do, because you can see we barely even had the draft at this point as we get loose into turn 3. That's one of the adjustments I noticed when we made that tire pressure adjustment in stage 2. The grip levels in this car on the entry of the corner really started to go away, which was really making the car kind of scary to drive on entrance of the corners. If I had other cars around me, I was really scared I was going to lose control and crash the field, as we already kind of did crash a few cars. But we do get back towards these guys going into turns 1. DJ Kennington falls back and goes to P38 as we get towards his bumper now. Where do we go? We're going to go to the bottom of him down the back straightaway, trying to get ahead of him at least, so we can get at least 1 car behind us, so we don't have to worry about maybe losing the draft now as we clear Kennington in turns 3 and 4. And now he's going to have to ride behind me as we are behind the 22 now of Joey Logano on the inside of Brendan Gaughan. Now just 8 laps to go as we cross the line, as we've only gained a few spots as we try to go under the 22. As we approach turn 1, we do get to his door and even going into turn 1, so we should get past the 22, but we hit the apron, and that's going to allow him to get a run back on my outside. Now as we come out of turn 2, we make a little bit of contact with Logano, but it's not going to really hurt us too bad. Now as we come to about a lap later behind the 78 of Truex, Oh, we have a car smoking in turn 3 up in the wall. I'm not sure who that is, but we're going to stay to the bottom. It is the 37 of Chris Buescher. We get by him with no problem. That held up the 9 of Elliott. Now as we get to the inside of him out of turn 4, the caution does not come out. So now this will leave us 6 laps to go in the Daytona 500. We were able to gain another spot as we got to P31 now as we hit lap 46, coming to 4 laps to go, riding behind William Byron and Michael McDowell as we come through the tri-oval in the 24. He goes spinning across the line. That's going to be a caution. That has to be a caution. Oh, he comes up. Yep, there's the caution. He hit the 9 as he came back up the track, and this is going to force overtime in the Daytona 500 as Trevor Bayne currently leads as we get ready to go green. And we are P30. We're going to have to be very aggressive here in these final 2 laps as the green flag is out for possibly the final time in the Daytona 500. At this point, I believe if we are aggressive enough, we can still manage to maybe even get a top 15 or even a top 10 out of this. But we're going to have to be very aggressive, and it's going to take us to get to the inside. We have to get to the bottom line as soon as possible if we want to pull something off, as now the inside actually checks up a little bit through turns 1 and 2, and that's going to help me a little bit as we got a big gap between ourselves and the 32 of Matt DiBenedetto going down the back straightaway, clear of the 48. Maybe there's a gap between 31 and the 21, and the gap has opened up for me to get to the bottom, so I'm going to take full advantage of that as we have a lap and a half to go in the Daytona 500. Newman, Johnson, and Elliott 3 wide behind me as the 21. He looked like he was going to make a 3 wide under Allmendinger, but he did not. As we approach the white flag in the Daytona 500, Trevor Bayne still leads this race. We have a big run on the cars in front of us, the 47, 32, and the 38. We're going to force a 4 wide going into turn 1 under them. It's not going to work. We hit the 47 and the apron. We have a huge crash as we flip through the sky now, going over top of other cars. We're going to land on the 51 and end up on our side as the race has come to an end due to what I did. And Trevor Bayne, I believe, wins the race, but we finished P34 because I'm an idiot, and I thought forcing it 4 wide going into turn 1 was going to work. Unfortunately, that was not the case, and I shouldn't have done that. I should have just stayed behind the 47, but I made a decision I shouldn't have, and we paid the consequences. We finished 34th as Trevor Bayne has won the Daytona 500. So good for him. He's locked into the playoffs. That's going to be a wasted playoff spot, but hey, we're not going to judge because we should make the playoffs anyways. Not with finishes like that, though. That was unfortunate. And we certainly learned for the future because I'm not going to do that ever again. I thought it was going to work, and I was completely wrong, unfortunately. So we finished 34th, got still $705,000, gained a lot of fans for making a stupid move going into turn 1. So that's good at least, right? But next episode we will have Atlanta, so you'll be getting a recap of how Hailie Deegan did in Atlanta in her truck race, as well as we will have our cup race. So we did the work plan for Atlanta, and yeah, we didn't really go too much into that in this episode, but we did assign our workers. So you see I trained my people, so they were all at least level 10 just about in every department. So yeah, we got the speedway truck is getting prepared, and then we figured we'd at least assign someone to the short track plan, so we have something ready for Martinsville as well. So we got the people for that. So we are ready for the next 2 truck races as we started our work plan. So yeah, that's hopefully going to boost our performance when we get to the truck races. I know Atlanta's going to be tough, so we'll see how Hailie Deegan can do when it comes to that. But that will do it for this episode of NASCAR Heat 3 Career Mode. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you comment, subscribe, like. Those would all be incredibly appreciated. I'd like to thank you guys one more time for coming to my channel to watch me race in the Daytona 500. So I will see you guys in Atlanta. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have yourself a great day.